A clown and his snake child sit on the moon, looking down at Earth, far below. "Dad?" the snake asks, reaching a green-clawed hand up to tug on his father's cape. Little bells jingle, and the clown looks down, smiling a row of razor-sharp white teeth down at them. "Yeah, Squirt," the clown replies, squatting down to the little snake's level. The snake thing didn't have a name quite yet, sadly, as it was not his 13th birthday for another few minutes, but it did have a nickname. Little Cal. "What's that?" they asked, pointing a tiny claw at the Earth, massive on the horizon. The clown stood back up, looking out over the planet, hundreds of thousands of miles away. "That's Earth," he said simply. "Some guys live there, I guess." "Wow," little Cal said, crossing their arms. "Can I go there someday?" "Nah," the clown shrugged a bit sadly. "We're kinda stuck up here, kiddo." "That's okay," the snake said cheerfully. Truth be told, they preferred to be alone with their clown dad. The snake sat down on the dusty surface of the moon, the ground settling lazily back down around where their hips had hit the floor. Little Cal was only about 3 feet tall, their face skeletal and gaunt, yet oddly sweet, cherubic. Their eyes were massive on their face, topped with sweet, pointed eyelashes, their mouth a jagged expanse of green teeth, cheekbones jutting dramatically from the sides of their mouth. On each cheek was a tiny spiral pattern, one lime green and one cherry red. They resembled a child's skeleton wearing a little polo shirt and a red bow tie, but with dark green skin and huge eyes. The clown, on the other hand, wasn't a snake person at all, but a gray-skinned alien, blood-orange horns jutting from his head, body wrapped in deep purple robes that resembled a jester's costume, complete with pointy 3-pronged hat, with bells on each end, and shoes with curled tips. An odd couple to find on the Earth's moon, to be sure. "I like being alone," Cal confirmed, kicking their feet on the moon's dust. "Do you, Dad?" The clown put his hands on his hips. He laughed a bitter laugh, turning back to Cal. To Cal's alarm, their father looked rather despondent. "Not really," he confessed. "But I'm not alone with you around, champ." This relieved Cal, who stood back up hurriedly and hugged their father tightly. The clown gasped, but ultimately reached down to return the hug, hoisting Cal onto his poofy shoulder sleeve. "Did you come from down there?" Cal asked, once again pointing at the mass of Earth on the horizon. The Earth was in its waxing phase today, making its vibrant blue surface almost fully illuminated. "Nope, I came from somewhere else," the clown said, walking back towards their home. "A planet on a whole nother reality." "Whoa," Cal said, even though they didn't quite understand. "That must be far. Will I ever go there?" "Someday," the clown said, but his voice wasn't cheerful or hopeful like Cal expected. It sounded frustrated, almost angry. "In a way, you already have." "Oh," Cal replied, a little confused. Cal's home was up a massive staircase, wrapping around a large stone obelisk that jutted from the moon's surface. It was the only structure on the moon's face, sitting near where the light side transitioned into the dark side. The clown carried his snake child all 50 feet up, panting as he reached the top. Even with the lower moon gravity, hauling a skeleton snake kid up a bunch of stairs wasn't easy. "Whew," he said, sitting down for a moment. "You're getting heavy there, kiddo." "I'm getting bigger, like you said, Dad," Cal said cheerfully. "Will I be as big as you someday?" "Bigger," the clown confirmed, but again, he sounded oddly forlorn. Cal frowned, scratching their red spiral cheek. It was a little itchy today. "Is that cheek still bugging you?" the clown asked, peering back across the roof of the massive obelisk towards the hatch. Down the hatch, they both knew, was their home, a small room inside the structure, outfitted with everything Cal loved: computers, meat, candy, and above all, stories. Stories in every form: Books, movies, TV shows, laser discs, and grubs that when you squished them told little tales in squeaky voices. Cal scratched their cheek again. They looked down onto the glossy surface of the obelisk roof to see their blurry reflection, frowning. "How's your cheek?" the clown repeated, sounding more firm. Cal snapped out of their trance and looked back at their father. "It's itchy again," the cherub said. "Which side?" "The red side." Cal scratched more insistently. The cheek was getting hot, too, uncomfortably so. The clown stood, Cal's heart beginning to beat. Something felt strange today, different, like things were about to change. "Is something happening to me?" they asked their father, worry in their large eyes. "Sure is, Cal." Clown Dad nodded, motioning for Cal to follow him down the hatch. Cal obliged, and the duo descended the long downward ladder into the home. But when Cal finally entered, their home was different. Something there was new. In the middle of the room was what looked like a slab, one half green and the other half red with a large divot in the middle. "Lay there," the clown urged. His voice was soft and gentle now, parental and caring, secure. Cal suddenly felt more safe about the burning in their cheek and their father's odd mood, laying down in the divot in the slab. "What's happening to me?" Cal asked, voice cracking a little. "You're growing up, sweetheart," the clown said. Cal found this rather vague, but comforting nonetheless. "Hold still." The clown bustled about the room as Cal watched. First, Clown Dad took a large chain on one side of the room and brought it next to the slab. Then did the same for a chain on the opposite side. Attached to each chain was a shackle emblazoned with two different insignias. One, a coil of two snakes, at which Cal blushed, and on the other, the letter U with a line struck through it. The shackles were attached to each of Cal's ankles, but the one with the snakes felt looser, and the clown had a harder time getting it to stay on. "Am I going to turn into the Hulk? Is that why I have to be restrained?" asked Cal excitedly, a claw digging into the cheek to scratch it. Nah, the clown laughed. "You're already green enough, kid." The clown looked down, hands on his hips. He smiled, taking Cal's wrist and moving it away from their cheek. "No scratching, Squirt. Just hold still and lay down." Cal did as instructed, looking up at the ceiling of their room, eyes suddenly feeling droopy, a great fatigue setting in. As they fell asleep, the last thing they felt was the snake shackle coming loose once more, and Dad's hand on their cheek. "I love you, Dad," they said quietly before falling asleep. With the snake kid restrained, the clown took a long, deep sigh, running a hand through his hair, shedding his jester hat, slipping up and off his long orange horns. He watched as Cal's red cheek slowly faded into a light lime green to match their other one, just as their eyes flicked open again. "Father," Cal's voice called out. It was different now, less sure of itself and more tentative, tinkling and musical. The clown approached, cupping Cal's cheek in his hand. "Morning, Calliope," he said. "How you feeling?" Before his eyes, Cal had transformed, as he always knew they would. "What's going on?" Cal said, voice unsteady. "I feel strange. Why am I empty?" Cal raised a hand to their cheek, which once had been red, now both green. They looked up at their father, then to the shackle on their ankle. "Who's Calliope?" she asked, cocking her head. "You are, sweet cheeks," said Gamzee, leaning on the slab. "Remember?" Calliope blinked, then nodded. "Calliope," she repeated. "That's me. I'm Calliope. I used to be little Cal, but now I'm Calliope, right?" It seemed intuitive. Of course she was. She was someone new now, wasn't she? She knew that in her bones, in her very DNA. But she didn't know if she liked it. "Father, what's going on?" Calliope asked, a look of worry on her face. "I explained it to you already," the clown said, stroking Calliope's hairless, smooth head. "Someday, when you get old enough, you'll become two people. You were just Cal before, but now you're Calliope. And you're Calibor." For some reason, even though she knew her father was telling the truth, she shook her head. "But I don't want to be someone I'm not," she insisted. "You won't have to be," Father said gently. "You're just Calliope. Someone else is Caliborn, but you both used to be Cal. Does that make sense?" Calliope nodded, feeling tears sting her eyes. She threw herself into the clown's arms, sobbing suddenly, unable to process her feelings in any other way. The clown smiled, unable to help feeling pride through his melancholy. "They grow up so fast," he said, chuckling. But to the clown's shock, things changed jarringly, snapping him out of his musing. The snake shackle, still loose around Calliope's ankle, snapped shut, the U-shackle opening almost violently. Calliope's green spiral cheeks shifting in color to red. The clown squirmed, but he found Calliope's hug was tighter now, and her sobs had turned into peals of strange laughter. The clown tried to wriggle out of his child's grasp, but the kid was surprisingly strong. "Caliborn? Is that you, buddy?" The clown cried out as Caliborn abruptly sank his teeth into the clown's shoulder, hard. The clown howled, shoving Caliborn off as the small-statured snake person cackled. "You lied to me, Father," Caliborn said, his voice more harsh and brash than Calliope's quiet tones. "I am the famous Hulk." Caliborn leapt from the slab, guffawing merrily as he wandered the room, taking a large book in his tiny green hands, beginning to smash everything in sight, splattering story grubs under it and snapping CDs and DVDs in half with glee. "Hey!" The clown sprang up in shock, grabbing Caliborn's little wrists. "No smashing. Hulk no smash, okay?" "What nonsense is that, Dad?" Caliborn quirked a brow up at his father, sneering. "Of course Hulk smash. That is his entire reason to be. Without smashing, he would simply be a very large Bruce Banner nerd." Caliborn jerked free of his dad's grasp and marched to the other side of the room to inflict more harm, but before he could, he tripped on the chain. "What's this?" he snarled angrily, tugging at the shackle around his ankle. "Unhand me this instant, Dad! I want to smash the other side of the room!" As Caliborn began to gnaw uselessly on his shackle, the clown sighed. "You can't get to that side of the room, bud. It's your sister's." "Sister?" Caliborn spat the word up at the clown. "Fuck that! I want to smash all of the room!" "Look," the clown explained with patience beyond measure. "This side of the room is yours. That side is hers, okay?" "My side," Caliborn nodded slowly. Yes. How do I keep my so-called sister away from my precious side of the room?" The clown picked up the open shackle off the ground, the one with the U on it. "Before you go to sleep, put this bad boy on your other ankle. Then when she wakes up in your body, she won't be able to go on your side." Caliborn nodded raptly, turning the U-shackle over in his hands. "This is unfair, Dad," he said petulantly. "I did not want a sister whatsoever. Take her away. I want my body to myself." "I can't do that, champ." The clown shrugged. "That's just how you are." Caliborn set down the book, hands on his own hips. Distracted from his train of thought, he wandered to the fridge and began gnawing on some of the frozen taffy within, turning back to his dad. "I'm fucking starving. Bring me more food," Caliborn demanded, to which the clown chuckled, offering a sad smile to his son. As the clown climbed back up the ladder to the roof of the obelisk, he caught himself sniffling. He should be happy, shouldn't he? Not only was his son growing up, but he was raising the most important being in the universe, in all universes. Still, he felt impossibly, tragically sad, his body falling back onto the roof as soon as he was above, breathing slow and deep, letting melancholy wash over him. Below him, down the hatch, he could hear Caliborn laughing, the sound sending shivers up his clown spine. He looked up at the earth far above, reminded of another massive blue sphere he'd seen once upon a time, back when he was young himself, playing games with his friends. He tugged the phone from his pocket, still lying on his back, calling his boss.
Gamzee,
came the voice from his speaker. It was a drawling, easy-going voice, yet businesslike and clipped. The voice of a wheeler and dealer.
How is our little scamp?
They're good, said the clown simply. Their personalities finally manifested and shit.
Excellent,
the voice said. The clown had never seen his boss in person, but he got all of his orders from that voice, that irritating, saccharine, fake voice. It pissed him off, and he felt his teeth grind together. What happens now? The clown asked, watching Earth's clouds lazily drag across its blue waters high above him.
Now, you wait, my dear jester.
The voice paused.
You attend to our young Caliborn's needs, and make sure everything is in place for his entry into the game. Beyond this, I don't really care.
Can I... The clown trailed off. He swallowed. Can I go down to Earth? I know it ain't my home planet, but...
Earth?
The clown's boss cut him off, laughing. It struck Gamzee how similar the boss and Caliborn sounded when they laughed. Cold and cruel.
I can't let you go there, Gamzee. Oh, no.
Come the fuck on, Doc, Gamzee said, voice cracking with desperation. I've been good, haven't I? I haven't seen another person who wasn't green in sweeps.
You have been good, Mr. Makara,
Doc said, voice soothing.
That is precisely why you cannot go down.
What? Gamzee was lost.
Because shortly, Earth is going to be utterly destroyed.
Doc laughed again, a cruel, indifferent laugh, like what he just said was the punchline to some polite socialite joke. Gamzee looked up once more, mouth agape.
If you look up now, you may be able to see it soon, in fact,
came Doc's voice. Even though he'd never been down to Earth, Gamzee couldn't help but feel sad. The spinning blue orb above him was so bright, friendly, lovely. Much better than the gray ball he'd grown up on. Gamzee just sighed, suddenly feeling quite tired.
Oh, what's the matter, Mr. Makara?
Doc asked, faux concern lining his phony voice. I don't know, Gamzee said, unable to articulate his feelings. I feel homesick, I guess. My planet was broken too.
It was,
Doc replied.
But this is your home now, clown, so don't be homesick.
Gamzee was silent, lying back down. Across the Earth's surface, he began to see red specks dot above the clouds. Far below, Caliborn cackled. In his ear, his boss hissed. High above, the Earth burned.
I'd say now, dear Mr. Makara,
Doc drawled.
You'll never be homesick again. Now you're,
Doc searched for the right word, snorting.
Homestuck.
The line clicked dead in Gamzee's ear, the echo of Doc's laughter mingling with Caliborn's, far below. The clown, tears stinging behind his eyes, snorted. He felt his lungs squeeze, and a laugh left his throat. Then another, and with each tear that tore from his ducts, a laugh came with it, his voice raised to the heavens as he cackled and howled uproariously, mirthfully, tragically, wheezing and screaming laughter so loud it made his ears ring and his vocal flaps ache. It was too funny, too tragic, too overwhelming. He'd raised Cal the only way he knew how, with love, bottomless and heartfelt. And for his trouble, for his toil, for his work, he was repaid with a barren moon above a more barren planet. He sobbed and laughed and screamed and beat his fists against his skull, doubled over in pain and mirth, as the absurdity of it set in. Below him was his own son, adopted from the heavens. Below was one of the only things he'd ever loved, and the only thing he'd ever truly hated. For even though his emotions tricked him and made his foolish mind believe that the little cherub was his own progeny, Caliborn would become the incarnation of wrath that broke every universe in paradox space. Below him, was his son. The calamity that would end every world.
This episode of Homestuck Alternate Universe was brought to you by Fruit Gushers. Fruit Gushers, the only snack that makes you feel like you're chomping down on a squishy insect. Available now wherever health hazards are sold. Now in industrial strength page thinner flavor. From Crocacorp. Make sure to check out Crocacorp Gaming's Spurb, the hit sensation that's sweeping every nation. Try it now. Obey. Consume. Further funding is provided through Patreon by viewers like you. Special thanks to Audrey, Slothbucket, Dawn, Athena, Lakota, Io Makara, Zuza, Danica, Susa, Pyrus, Pirate, Zipperosic, Kaleidoscope Mediator, Elizabeth, Luna, and Jojo. To get your name immortalized in Homestuck history, make sure to check out patreon.com/funkmclovin for more juicy tidbits.